I'm looking on YouTube. Yeah. I think you missed Pennywise. Watching a bit of this and then other videos. I just got these.
You know that some aluminum-free deodorant is only mask odor? Secret aluminum-free helps eliminate odor instead of just masking it, and is made with 3 times more odor fighters. Keep it fresh every day. Secret.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Anyone scared of this? I know this is my favorite YouTuber, so I have a lot. So I will like blown.
Now one can pray. We all know how this works. We die. It's not a key. This isn't the same game. It's more dangerous this time. Escape.
If you want to find out how you can win this penny, stick around to the end of this. The moment we've all been waiting for since 129 minutes into the first movie has arrived, and basically 12 videos and one terrible song later,
It's Chapter 2, Happy Death Day to you.
it's Chapter 2 is here. So let's take a look at the things you missed. The movie opens with a shot from the first film, Beverly floating after being abducted by Pennywise, which suggests that this event has a greater significance than we previously realized. We later find out that because Beverly looked into the deadlights as a kid, she has the ability to see things that the others cannot, which is hinted at in the last scene.
I saw us, all of us, together back in the cistern. But we were older. Our parents' ages. I just remember how we felt. How scared we were. I don't think I can ever forget that.
We then see an extended version of that scene where Stan the Man asks what he looks like as an adult. And if you look at Beverly's reaction, she looks sad for a moment before lying to him, saying that he'll be the same but taller. We all know what happens to Stan. No, put that down. We then flash forward to Derry in 2016, which is the most modern depiction of the fictional town that appears in many of Stephen King's works. The Derry Canal Days Festival is going on, and 3 anti-gay teens harass a couple, Adrian Mellon and Don Haggerty. The movie shows how Adrian ended up with the I Heart Derry hat, which in the book is the item that sets Adrian's attacker over the edge. No pun intended. The scene is also inspired by a real crime that occurred in the 80s while the book was being written. The way the 3 attackers act is very similar to how Henry Bowers and his gang of bullies behave in the first film, and that may be a clue about how the phenomenon of violence that Mike Hamlin calls the Derry disease is now impacting a new generation of teens. Mellon is thrown off the bridge, and Pennywise secretly makes his appearance in the background for a brief moment while Mellon pops up for air. In the next scene, we see Mike Hamlin hearing the news of the crime over police scanners, and I noticed a photograph of his uncle from the first movie. The uncle takes over the role his father played in the novel, so I think it's reasonable to assume that he probably passed away in a similar manner during the 27-year gap, which may be the reason Mike decides to stay in Derry and investigate more about why bad things happen so often in this town. The next Losers Club member we meet is Bill, who's on set filming a movie adaptation of Attic Room. In the novel, The Black Rapids is the name of the book that gets made into a movie, and Attic Room is actually Bill's first original screenplay. The change may have been made because each one of Bill's stories represents one of his experiences in Derry, and Attic Room would have been inspired by the events at 29 Nebold Street, which are focused on much more in the first movie. They're shooting Attic Room on the Warner Brothers lot, and conversely, you can go to the Warner Brothers lot right now and you'll see this. Almost as if they want people to go see this movie. The director is a real-life director, Peter Bogdanovich, likely because the director of It, Andy Muschietti, is a fan. The next adult loser we meet is Eddie. You probably noticed that his wife, Myra, looks exactly like his mom from the first movie, but if you haven't read the book, you might not get the joke. Eddie realizes the woman he married is basically exactly like his mother when he finds an old photo of his mom. He looks from mother to Myra and then back again to mother. They could have been sisters. The resemblance was that close. The movie takes it a step further by literally using the same actress for both characters. Pennywise. In the new movie, Eddie is a risk assessment specialist for an insurance company, but the fact that he gets in a car accident when he receives the call from Mike Hamlin is a slight nod to his limo driver career in the book. After Richie, we meet Ben, who's now an architect. He's in a meeting with his associates where he makes an argument for an open floor plan, telling them if you throw up walls, it feels like a prison. The point is to bring people together. Whether he remembers it or not, the reason he feels this way is because he's felt the power of unity before, when he and his friends came together to defeat Pennywise.
This is what it wants. It wants to divide us. We were all together when we heard it. That's why we're still alive.
Ben also compares the office building to a clubhouse. It hints that we would finally see the clubhouse in the Barrens that was left out of both adaptations so far. When we see the exterior shot of Ben's home office, there's a turtle statue, a reference to the entity known as the Turtle in the book, which is essentially the rival of It, who gives the Losers Club small helping hands along the way. The turtle is referenced a few times
Yeah. 4 minutes of the video.
the first film and would be referenced again later in Chapter 2.
Let's see it. Wow.
Beauty starts with you. With your soft contours and smooth skin, your poise and constant ambition. Beauty starts with the many wonders of you. Embrace them, enhance them, elevate them. Juvederm.
They're on a breakaway! Tony passes it! He shoots! Scores! And what's this? Tony's taking out a ball! Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at It Chapter 2, released in 2019. It Chapter 2 is the sequel to 2017's wildly popular It Chapter 1, which I previously covered in a 2-part kill count. I also did a 2-part kill count for the 1990 It miniseries, but It Chapter 2 will be covered in a single video. YouTube's algorithm changed. It's boring. Don't worry about it. Chapter 2 sees the losers from the first film all grown up into a group of remarkably sexy adults. If you've read Stephen King's book or seen the ABC miniseries, you already know what to expect from the second half. 27 years after fighting Pennywise the evil dancing clown, the losers are summoned back to Derry, Maine to vanquish their old shape-shifting nemesis once and for all. A lot of the crew from the first movie returned for the sequel, and they all worked under the leadership of the siblings Muschietti, Andy Muschietti in the director's chair, and his sister Barbara Muschietti as producer. Andy and Barbara are both lifelong Stephen King fans, having read his books since they were the same age as the kids in part 1. They're both lovely, passionate people who were happy to spend nearly 5 years of their lives making these 2 movies and telling this ambitious story. It Chapter 2 had a tough hill to climb from the start. Living up to the box office smashing first film was always going to be a difficult task, especially when the ensemble cast of kid actors was a big part of what made It so successful. In fact, one of the most common criticisms of the It miniseries was that the second adult-focused half wasn't as strong as the first. I guess John Ritter kissing clowns just couldn't match kids, building trash dams or whatever. Would It Chapter 2 face the same kind of negative reaction? Maybe a little bit. It wasn't received as enthusiastically as the first, neither critically nor at the box office, but in my opinion, anyone calling this an awful movie is overstating the case. It's definitely not as strong as the first one for a number of reasons, including pacing, with the movie nearly 3 hours long, tone, with a few too many comedic beats at inappropriate moments, and scariness. I don't think it's nearly as scary as Chapter 1, but I'm willing to excuse a lot of that since I was blown away by the movie's epic scale, how hilarious it was when the comedy landed, and most of all, the cast they got for the adult losers. They took a lot of care to find physically similar actors, a process that began on set during the first film and included input from the kid actors.
From the beginning, I was always Bill Hader. I was just like a super fan. But yeah, it's a very unconventional way of hiring someone. Saying a 14-year-old told me to hire you.
They were obviously very successful at this endeavor. James Ransone looks exactly like a grown-up version of Jack Dylan Grazer. A similarity.
We are done with that video of it.
Today we're gonna go out in the rain and play with my boat. So let's go because it's rainy.
Just wait, stop.
Hey, we got another boat and we're gonna try it again because it's raining now. There's a smaller boat.
No.
Take your pick, Billy boy. Except for the one on the end. That's already taken. Sorry.
I remember you. And I remember we beat you. I'm not afraid of you.
Everything floats down here. That is, if its mass per unit of volume is equal to or lighter than that of water.
My server's down. I called for IT.
I see the problem. You've called the IT department, and I'm it. So there's been a mix-up. It's not your fault. It happens all the time.
Can you fix my computer, then?
No, I can scare you.
Hey, Cookie. It's me, Kellyanne Conway. What you call me Pennywise? It's Pennywise, the dancing clown. It's Kellyanne.
What'd you do to your makeup?
I toned it down. Put me on TV.
I have to go.
Wait, don't go. Don't you want a coat?
No.
I'll give you a coat. I'll give you a crazy coat.
Swipe right. Swipe right.
I could hit that.
That's the end of our video today. I know it. Oh, we